Hello, class and professor. Once again, it's Roman Luco. And for today's discussion, I will be going over aeronautical decision making. And this is going to be for a commercial pilot. So, I would raise the question, what makes a great pilot? And some people may say it's stick and rudder skills. Some people may say it's the ability to articulate how to do a maneuver. Um, some would even say doing acrobatics in the air. But all of those things come down to one thing, and that's good judgment. And some people think that if you have good judgment, it's something that you were born with. But one thing that we've learned from the Risk Management Handbook and the PHAC is that, contrary to popular belief, good judgment can be taught. And that's the thing I want to instill today for the commercial pilot is that when you move up from private to commercial, there's going to be a different standard. And the important thing is that you can be taught great habits, and that's going to be the objective of this lesson. So, like I said, we're going to go over a couple things. We're going to talk about good decision making. We're going to talk about hazardous attitudes, risk management, utilizing the resources you have as a pilot, not only as a single pilot, but also in a crew, and how to manage stress. So, when you go from private to commercial, automatically you receive privileges that you did not have as a private pilot. And one of the main privileges that you receive is that you are now able to fly for hire. So basically, you can receive compensation for flying passengers or cargo services, a lot of different capacities that you can actually get paid for as a pilot. So you got to understand that the standard that was there for private pilot has now went up because now you have a higher level of responsibility. Not only are you responsible for yourself, but you're also responsible for the passengers and whatever cargo or items that you were carrying. And you got to understand that you are now basically a business professional. So you are expected to have a higher expectation, and now your decision making is not just for your personal usage, but it's also part of your brand. And that's the thing that's going to be moving forward based on all the decisions you make once you get your commercial certificate. So, what exactly is aeronautical decision making? It's something we do every day. Every time we go out to fly, or before we decide to fly, or even post flight. But the book answer is it's a systematic approach to the mental processes used by pilots to consistently determine the best course of action in response to a given set of circumstances. Now, you've made it this far to become a commercial pilot, so obviously you've shown that you have uh, at least decent decision making skills. So with that being said, you have to continue to elevate your decision making, and you need to look more into the PHAC and other resources to ensure that you continue to make those good decisions. So you got to understand it yourself and the risk management process. So let's talk about some of the resources you have available to you in terms of making good decisions now that you're a commercial pilot. Um, as a commercial pilot, it's more than likely that you're going to be flying with a flight crew. And with that flight crew, it's not only just your co pilot, it could be the flight engineer, or if you fly for an airline carrier or Part 135, that may include that you may have a flight attendant who is also a member of the crew because they're assisting you during the flight. Another thing you need to think about is single pilot resource management. And that's something you probably did a lot as a private pilot. And we have to understand that we have internal resources, which is basically our mental processes of planning and evaluating. And then we have external resources. Those external resources are things like ground control, clearance, ATC, air traffic control, people outside of ourselves or the aircraft that can assist us in making better decisions. And another thing we need to understand is our hazardous attitudes and the antidotes to those hazardous attitudes. We all know that we are prone to having specific hazardous attitudes. Mine, for example, is machoism, just a confidence thing that I believe I can do anything. But I also always have to remind myself, like, hey, I don't have to prove anything. The best way I can prove anything is to make the best decision. And sometimes that means doing a go around or deciding not to fly that day. It may hurt your ego, but it's the best decision in the long run. And it's going to protect you, your career, and also the members, your crew, and passengers. Now, risk management. Now, this is a simple safety thing. We all know about risk management, and at this point, as a commercial pilot, you should be aware of the rich risk management matrix. And it will help you assess the hazard and understand how to mitigate them. And it's something you got to take into greater consideration now that you're a commercial pilot, especially with those weight and balance, and especially if you're going to be carrying cargo or passengers. Situational awareness, that's another big factor. Always being aware of your surroundings and not just aware, but having an accurate awareness of what's going on. So, in conclusion, we went over a lot of things that you as a commercial pilot need to understand and grasp moving forward if you want to be a developed pilot and also look at this as a professional career moving forward. So, once again, utilize the resources available to you, continue to develop your aviation skills, use risk management, and remember that regardless of where you start, that any of us can develop the skills to be a great commercial pilot. Here are my references in the next slide, and I hope you have all have a great afternoon.